20. Well played downfield. Eagles say the ball's out. And no indication of a fumble yet. Clearly the ball's out. Jenkins is the one who knocked it out.
After review the play, there was a fumble on the play. However, we do not have a clear recovery by the kicking team. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands as called. The first down.
It looked like you guys had your offense on the field already.
That was a pretty terrible call, to be honest. I mean, they reviewed it, and the explanation I got was that it wasn't a clear recovery, although Kamu had the ball in his hand, and there was only, Eagles defenders on the ball in the replay. So whoever's watching that in New York should stay off the bottom.
And you could feel the ball come loose right away?
Yeah, I mean, it's a clear fumble. That wasn't even the close part. They said they didn't see a clear recovery. Again, common sense. You saw Kamu come out with the ball, so I don't know. Obviously, they don't pay me to make calls like that, but I was, in hindsight, obviously a big play in the game.
How difficult?
Wentz throws over the middle. Pass is caught. Flag is thrown. There goes Goddard. Trying to answer. Flag is down. Goddard. Got Goddard at the top of this route. Let's take a look.
Offense. Number 88. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
Yo, if you try, I'm always going to have respect for you. That's one thing. Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. I got to congratulate the Dallas Cowboys on, coming away with the win. I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like I'm not salty about the outcome of the game. I'm not disappointed. I'm salty about the outcome of the game because I feel like a small part of me got to talk about the good and the bad and the unfair at the same time. The good thing is, man, we show heart. The defense stepped up when the offense wasn't stepping up. The offense stepped up when the defense wasn't stepping up. But in the game, you got to put it all together, man. You got to put it all together. A couple questionable play calls in the beginning of the game. Leaving Sidney Jones while he's hurt on the island with Amari Cooper is just, it reminds me of when our defensive coordinator left Eric Rowe as just a struggling cornerback to guard Megatron in that Detroit game a couple years ago. I feel like they set Sidney Jones up for failure. They knew he was hurt. You could tell how he was running on that leg. You could look at his hammy. You saw the position he was in, and they set him up for failure. You don't do your young players like that, especially somebody that you're looking at as a staple to kind of take over this thing later on down the line when torches get passed. Dak Prescott in the first half of the game, although he didn't finish a lot of drives, Dak Prescott was picking the secondary apart. But we had a bend don't break mentality. We didn't allow them to get 7 points often in the first half of that game. It didn't really happen until they got desperate with the middle of the game, with the middle field game. There was the short intermediate pass game they were going with, and they just start using Cooper, man. Amari Cooper, one-on-one against a guy with a damaged hamstring is unfair, but you got to exploit it if you're Dallas, man. You got to exploit it if you're Dallas. It don't take arm talent to complete those throws, man. It don't take arm talent. You just got to have a cannon, and having a cannon is part of having arm talent because everybody can't throw as deep or as far as Dak Prescott. From the beginning of the game, I saw the tone in which this game was going. When you kick the ball off and you cause a fumble and you see evidence that there was a fumble, you see evidence that your team has that ball, and they say there's no evidence and the ball stays with Dallas, I knew what it was from the beginning of the game. I'm not going to sit here and say the refs was doing anything crazy, but come on, man. If you watch football, you knew that the refs were going to keep this game as close as possible. And who does games like that favor? They favor the home team. They favor the home team. I mean, from not giving us our fumble on the first play of the drive to when the game is in the crunch time, screwing us on a touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert, calling the offensive pass interference. Just a lot of stuff that they were trying to do. The refs, it seemed like at one point were determined to make sure the Dallas Cowboys come out on the winning side of this game. determined, because the same amount of contact that Dallas Goedert gave off, with not even pushing off, just running his route, was the exact same amount of contact that Amari Cooper was given with the little hand jamming and the hand checking on some of his long passes. I mean, at the end of the day, we lost the game. So, shout out to the Dallas Cowboys. But like, as a football fan, we're not even talking about Eagles. We're not talking about Cowboys. We're talking about football in general. The play calling got to be fixed. The play calling is atrocious, man. The play calling was atrocious. If you could sit here and tell me that some of those calls weren't ridiculous and it didn't have, at the end of the day, the calls really didn't have anything to do with the game's ending. So you can't really blame the calls. The game went to overtime. It was our job to stop them, and it was our job to give Carson Wentz a chance to win that ball game or overtime, which I believe he would have done. I mean, he was finding his rhythm late in the game. What at that point? What he already had? Three touchdowns? How many touchdowns? Yeah, I think he had three passing touchdowns. I mean, he was finding his rhythm. He was getting accurate as the game was going on. But the first half of that game, man, is a testimony of our season. I mean, the second half, yeah, we battled back, but it don't matter. We didn't win. The first half of that game has shown. It was everything. It was everything you need to know. The first half of the game is what we are. Not being able to put up points early in the game, scrambling at the last minute of the game, just coming close enough to lose the game. That's what we've been doing all season. We've only lost one game by more than 7. And we've had the same formula of not being able to put up points in the beginning of the game and barely losing the game. That's not going to get it done. We are 8-8 football team. I'm not expecting us to go far at all. Do I think the Dallas Cowboys are contenders? No, I don't really think they're contenders, but they're a playoff team. They're for sure a playoff team. The officiating was ridiculous. I mean, this has to feel good for a Dallas Cowboy fan right now, because making the playoffs gives yourself that chance to, be what you once was. Because in '95, when they last won the Super Bowl, I don't think nobody else had 5. If I'm not mistaken, nobody else had 5. I think San Fran might have had 5, but no, I know the Patriots didn't have 5. I know the Steelers didn't have 5. Now everybody got 5, and they the last one. They ain't get one in a long time. So it gotta feel good to get your chance, man. The Dallas Cowboys are in a race to get the 6th one first. You know what I mean? And that's an accomplishment in its own, because you got to pay respect to the past rings of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to keep it real with all that. You got to pay respect to the past rings of the Dallas Cowboys. But from a football standpoint, if you can sit here and if you can make a comment or say anything and say that we didn't get worked on a lot of those calls, you're just out of your mind, man. You're out of your mind. And there's nothing you could do about it. We got worked out of those calls. It's an agenda for, and even Stephen A. Smith was tweeting the same thing. I know people are saying, "Oh, it's Stephen A. Smith. Nobody listen to him." Man, this dude been around sports for a long time, and I understand what he's saying. It looked like it's an agenda to get the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. For what? They still gonna get put out.